Hi everyone, this is Yana for SimonSaysStamp.com, and thanks for joining me today. Welcome to my another episode from the bi-monthly Yippee for Yana video series. In today's video, I'm showing something I like to call dimensional pattern stamping. We're going to create a dimensional looking pattern for our card using stamps, coordinating dies, and inks. Since summer is hot upon us, the pattern or the background I'm creating today is tropical. But keep in mind, by changing images to fall or spring, you can make this idea work for any season. I'm going to start by doing a lot of stamping. First, I'm using images from the Tropical Leaves stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to stamp 3 of each leaf onto white paper. I'm starting with a Monstera leaf and stamping it in green apple. The reason I picked this particular stamp set for my card today is because a lot of the images here have additional details to them. There are layers to these images, and that makes them much more interesting. To stamp the detail layer of this image, I'm using Lucky ink color, and these two, the green apple and Lucky, make up a bold, striking combination. I will also use the same exact colors to stamp a smaller Monstera leaf from another stamp set later in this video. Next, I'm stamping the second leaf design, and I'm using Jelly Bean for the base layer and Key Lime ink color for the detail. I kept on stamping leaves, and I stamped 3 of each. I used the following ink colors for my stamping. I used Dusty Sage, Teal, Catkin, Evergreen, Willow, and Laurel Green. My idea was to create lush tropical vegetation for my card, and these colors of ink from Simon helped to achieve this look. I also wanted to stamp several flowers for my card, so I used Hero Art's Color Layering Hibiscus stamp set and stamped a number of layered hibiscus flowers. Simon has a hibiscus flower in the Summer Flowers stamp set, but it's an outline image. I didn't want to do any coloring for this card, so I picked a hibiscus image from Hero Arts. I used Hot Lips, Watermelon, and Lipstick Red colors of ink to stamp the 3 layers of both small and large flowers. And I also used Sunshine to stamp the flower centers. And I used a smaller Monstera leaf from this stamp set when I was stamping my leaves. After my stamping was done, I cut all of my images out using coordinating dies. So I ended up having 3 of each leaf and 3 of each flower for my card. I also wanted to add a Bird of Paradise flower to my card design today, and in order to incorporate that into my background, I stamped it directly onto my white cardstock panel using black ink. I stamped one somewhat in the middle. This is where my main focal cluster or focal point is going to be. I also added 2 more impressions in the top and bottom left-hand side corners. So those flowers set the pattern in a way and allowed me to use them as a starting point for my background. The panel that I have here, by the way, is cut to 4 by 5¼ inches. So next, I arranged my die cut pieces onto my background, forming 3 distinct foliage clusters. I made sure not to cover the middle Bird of Paradise flower, while I allowed myself to have the 2 other flowers be covered for the most part. And I topped each of my clusters with a hibiscus flower. Once my arrangement was all figured out, I used Tonic Deluxe adhesive and started to adhere the die cuts in place. Now, I used glue here instead of, say, tape runner to give myself some wiggle room. While the glue was still wet, I was able to move the elements a little bit and adjust their placement. I also used foam adhesive for a few pieces. I wanted to have a few of the leaves popped up on this card, so I foam mounted them for a pop of dimension. After I adhered all of the pieces in place, I trimmed the excess that was going outside the panel. Now, I felt like the top right-hand side corner looked kind of empty, so I added some leaves there as well to make this background appear fuller. You can definitely create a background like this or a similar background without the use of coordinating dies if you choose to do masking. You would first stamp the color layering hibiscus flower, would mask the flower, and would add leaves in the background. That will allow you to create a flat, 1-layer pattern for your card. I'm not always a fan of masking as it oftentimes takes longer than cutting the image out, so I have been enjoying these dimensional patterns. This is still a background pattern, but because there isn't any masking done here, it has a lot of dimension to it. To turn this background into a card, I adhered it onto an A2 top folding card base. I also stamped a happy word using a stamp from the Happy Block Greetings stamp set, and I used watermelon ink. I cut it out and foam mounted onto my card. Now, there's a sub-sentiment that reads, "You are my," that goes with happy, so it says, "You are my happy." But I wanted to use something different, so I picked the word B from the B stamp set from Simon. I selected the one that was done in a tall, skinny font. I'm a sucker for unique fonts, so I picked that particular unique type of font for this one. And I stamped this word in Lauren Green ink anywhere on my background where I could find a spot. That helped me to finish my sentiment so that it would read "Be happy." And it also pulled the entire card pattern together as it helped me to fill in the pattern gaps. Have you ever tried making dimensional patterns like this? If you haven't, I hope you'll give this idea a try. As always, do tag us on social media so we can take a peek at your projects. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet done so. Thanks so much for joining me today. I will see you next time. Bye!